Hey, what is going on, everybody? It is Crypto Bobby. Hope you are having a great day, great night, wherever you might be watching in from here. Got to switch this screen over. Hope you guys are having a good one so far. Appreciate you taking the time to join me. What's up, Volnus? Hope you are having a good one. Let me make sure everything is all set to go. Should be good to go. What's up, Evelyn? Yeah, we can talk about that. What's up, Austin? Hope all is well, man. Jack, B Slice, what's going on? Sterling, Curtis, how is it going, everybody? Hope you guys are having a good one so far. Really interesting day, I think, in the crypto markets. Obviously, the market has been pretty choppy in general, and quick shout out on the just video that I posted earlier this on Saturday, actually this weekend, just in regards to kind of joining, just making a new career move. And I want to say thank you, Crypto Dale. What's up, brother? How's the weather in shitty ass Iowa? Somebody said Mike is a bit funny sounding, so I'll pull it down a little bit. Hopefully it's better now. Hopefully the mic's a little bit better for you guys. Sorry about that, but let me see here. Give me 1 second. Hopefully the mic is a little bit better now for you guys. I don't know. Sometimes when I plug it into the dock, it doesn't work as well. So apologies on that. But wanted to hop into everything today. Sorry for the technical difficulties kicking things off. Somebody said, "What's up, no booze?" Actually, I bought a 6-pack the other day of this Icelandic toasted porter beer. I don't know if you could see it at all. It's kind of, the label might be hard to read, but it's actually pretty. I don't think I've ever had Icelandic beer, but it's pretty damn good. And I really enjoy it. So what's up, Paul? Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Sipping on some Icelandic porter. But yeah, first day of working in blockchain, and it's been awesome so far. Obviously, it's I'm very, very excited. I'm pumped about that. So really, really enjoying kind of the new kind of career trajectory that hopefully I'll be on, and I'm really pumped to get started. So thank you to everybody for the kind words that you had mentioned in the other video. But let's get into everything else, because that's what really matters, and not not me. But I mean, looking at things today, I was looking at Substratum a little bit earlier. That made a freaking massive move. That was in the top 100, up pretty much by far number one. Pretty much by far the biggest mover on the positive end in the top 100, behind first right above NEM. And NEM was, I believe they're finally sorting out the CoinCheck hack and kind of allowing for trading again on CoinCheck. So when we pop over to CoinMarketCap, those were the two big movers today, Substratum and NEM. I don't really know if Substratum had any new news. I saw that somebody just mentioned DataDash. What's up, Nick? I think he had a show going on now. Unfortunately, this was the only time I could really do it. So, but I saw he had an interview with the founder. I didn't get a chance to watch that because I was at work today. But I don't know if Substratum pumping has anything to do with the interview with the founder, if there's anything interesting said there. NEM specifically was on, at least NEM's move that I saw was specifically on the side of the CoinCheck, and VeChain, to my knowledge, was added to the Palm Beach group list of buys up to, I believe, $5. So VeChain pumped. Kind of funny because Palm Beach doesn't pump like it used to. Like, you used to add something to Palm Beach and that thing would go up like 50 freaking bajillion percent. Now VeChain was up like 10% maybe against Bitcoin. It's up 4% or 4% on the day. So when Bitcoin's down, that's not too bad. But yeah. And so I'm popping over to Bitcoin, and like I said, kind of an interesting day because you had Bitcoin making what looked like it was going to be maybe a little bit of a decent run. It was kind of creeping back up to $10,000, and pretty much right along the morning there was a nice fat red candle where we dropped from around 9,800 back down to 92, and then dipped all the way below 9. I'm settling a little bit above 9 now, but it has been if you're an active trader, I mean, this is an active trader's dream. This is not my cup of tea. I don't have the time to really execute on really, really active trading like some of the guys on Twitter that I follow do, that they really play actively in like the margin game on a BitMEX or on an OKX, but not my cup of tea. But when you look at what's been happening and just the level of volatility in the crypto markets, it has been absolutely it's been pretty crazy to watch in the past couple of days. Matt, I don't know, man. I don't know. Somebody just said they tried to zoom in on the chart. Yeah, man, this would be mine. So taking a look at some of these questions, yeah, and the whole John Oliver thing was funny. I mean, waking up this morning, and I woke up pretty early to kind of get ready for work, and I opened up Twitter, and there were just a million freaking tweets that were like, "Yo, you were on John Oliver. Yo, you were on John Oliver." And I personally don't watch John Oliver at all. I don't really watch that much TV at all. But I woke up and saw that, and I was like, "This is the coolest thing on the planet." I thought that was, whether you like him or not, I thought that was pretty awesome. Even if somebody, even if it was somewhat in reference to having cult-like followers. So to all 450 of you watching right now, welcome to the Buffalo Chicken Wrap Cult of Crypto Bobby. We up in here, and now I don't really, I don't want to get political. I know some people some people don't like him, some people do like him. I don't really care. It was just cool to to basically be have a screenshot of myself on national television. That was kind of cool. And he didn't say anything really bad about me, so he ripped on some people pretty good. I avoided getting ripped on, so I'm happy about that. It was nice to not get murdered on national television. That would have hurt my self-esteem just a little bit, Yeah, EOS got worked pretty good. That was interesting to see. I mean, you could say that about a lot of cryptocurrency, though. The only thing about EOS from a money raising standpoint is the continuous ICO versus kind of how some of the ICOs have been structured. But that is, you could say, a lot of what John Oliver applied to EOS. You could say that pretty much across the board, many cryptocurrency projects. The BitConnect part was hilarious. The fact that they are still ripping on BitConnect is awesome. It makes my life. I'm so happy because I feel like I was one of the first ones on the BitConnect game, and I was on that, and I was been making fun of BitConnect since like August of this year, basically since I started the channel. And I remember when I hit 20,000 subscribers, I made the parody video that wasn't that funny because I'm not that funny, but made the parody video talking about how to become a BitConnect millionaire. Yeah, Carlos is literally a mainstream meme. Carlos has been on H3H3, John Oliver, PewDiePie, like everywhere. Anybody that has it is Carlos. Anyone that has a following Carlos has been on it, which is hilarious. I'd love to know where Carlos is now, what he's doing, where he's at in the Bronx. I want to know. Taking a look at some of these questions. If you guys have any questions at all about anything in general right now, would be happy to kind of spitball here. And apologies on things. I should be having a live stream tomorrow, a live stream or potentially recording. I'm not exactly sure which one it'll be yet, but I'm speaking to the team from Blockstack tomorrow evening, so that should be fun. Blockstack is a really interesting project. and I'm excited to be speaking to the team at Blockstack for sure. So hopefully that'll be a really solid interview. David Smith said yes, Genesis got a cease and desist. That is definitely true. I believe South Carolina. Where do we got here? Yep. State of South Carolina hit Genesis Mining with the cease and desist. Genesis Mining is, I believe, based out of Iceland, if I'm not mistaken. Are they based out of Iceland? Which I'm drinking Iceland beer right now. Icelandic beer right now. But yeah, they got hit with the cease and desist, saying that their mining contracts are securities. And that is, when you're looking at that, it's somewhat hard to, I guess, full on. I don't know. I'm not a legal expert, so I can't really go into that too much. I just know that, at least in my mind, like cloud mining, not necessarily specifically Genesis mining, but cloud mining itself has never been something that's really appealed to me. I've always thought that, the reason, at least in my mind, the reason that they're offering up these contracts is because they're making more money in a certain aspect of it. So I've never been a massive cloud mining fan in general. Hopefully everything will work out how it's supposed to work out. But when these cease and desist orders come out, they're typically not a good thing, as you've seen with BitConnect, as you've seen with what was the other stupid one? I don't even remember at this point in time. But this is it's interesting to see the regulation continue to roll out, in some cases on a state by state basis. We are coming in waves. Could Coinbase be next? No. Coinbase and Genesis Mining are really nothing alike at all. Literally nothing alike. So looking here. It's not national TV. It's HBO. You get what I'm saying. You can access HBO anywhere nationally. Basically national TV. Let me be. Am I going to ignore the ETH? Ethereum? Am I ignoring Ethereum? USD chart. Yeah, I meant USI Tech. That was the other one that came up to my mind. Those are the two at least that I've seen those are the two that I've seen that were really kind of quickly shut down by individual state cease and desists. Somebody mentioned any thoughts on Wyoming's new laws. I actually haven't gotten a chance to look into that. I've seen it on Twitter a few different times. Interesting. Hopefully it's a positive sign. I don't know. I haven't looked into the laws too much. So I am not really fully able to comment on it. From what I gathered from the initial reaction, it was positive regulation in comparison to much of the other stuff that's come out. Although, what's the population of Wyoming? I don't know, And again, I don't know how this affects everything, but you're talking about a population of less than 600,000 people. So that is something that I don't know exactly how that'll end up panning out, but maybe it can be the start of something good for a lot of other states and maybe a solid framework. Curtis, can you tell me how long it will take for other Bitcoin forks to get listed on major exchanges? We are less than 2 weeks since the Bitcoin private fork, but getting concerned because no major exchanges so far. That is from my mind. Like, I was a little bit when I looked at Bitcoin private and I made the ZCL trade, and I didn't take the profits that I should have, and I kind of screwed that trade up personally. But one of the reasons that I did exit when I did was I just didn't feel super, super confident. I didn't get in early enough, first of all. Like, there are a lot of people that got into that ZCL trade at $5, $10, $15. If that's where they got in, then they're obviously still in a massive amount of profit. However, when you're talking about somebody like myself who got into the ZCL trade at around like $100, I wrote it up to $200, then all the way back down to 70, and then sold it back off at like the bump to like 105 or 110. One of the reasons that I did sell it off when I did was it was right prior to the fork, but it was when Bittrex announced that they weren't going to list. They were going to credit people with Bitcoin private, but they weren't going to list it for trading. And I thought if there was one exchange that was like made the most sense to like list it, it would be Bittrex, and Bittrex is listing coins again. So that was a little bit concerning to me. And I've been kind of surprised, at least on my end, of how they haven't been able to get listed on really any reputable exchange. One thing that it does come down to in a lot of cases, though, is some of these companies just you have to pay. There was a tweet, I forget where it was, but there was a tweet today about how much it costs to get listed on some of these exchanges now, and it's upwards of $1 million in some cases for some of these exchanges to list your coin. Maybe Bitcoin Private isn't comfortable paying that. Maybe they are. I have no idea. So I guess you'll have to see some. Good question, Johnny. Hey, congrats on the new job. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. The market's feeling very bearish. Where do you find optimism from? What makes you think we're not headed for another 2013 like crash? To be pretty frank, I don't know. I don't know where we're headed. I feel, with my kind of cost basis and everything like that, I feel fairly comfortable with where I'm at personally. You might not be in the same situation, but the one thing I'm just trying to do in this scenario is obviously it's not incredibly fun seeing where we were at the all-time high or at the recently established all-time high of $19,000, $20,000 Bitcoin and the overall crypto market cap at $800 billion. We're nowhere near that, obviously, right now. Where are we at now? We're at, less than 400 million. So we're 50% plus down, over 50% down from the all-time high in terms of the overall market capitalization. The one thing that I'm trying to do is simply, in the long term, of kind of like the title says, I'm trying to build my skill set, and I'm trying to just dive in deeper to research because I am confident in the space long term. That's my personal opinion. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the case, but I'm very confident in the space in the long run, and I am enthusiastic about it. Can you perhaps make different short-term trades, in this downturn? Yeah, absolutely. Are there people that are fantastic at doing that? Yes, there are. Is that personally me? Not really. But when I'm looking just fundamentally speaking about there's certainly a lot of, I would say the biggest uncertainty in my end right now, and I think in the eyes of a lot of investors, is the regulation. There are, the SEC has come out and said a bunch of things. The CFTC, not as much, but there's a lot of information, or kind of, it's literally the definition of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. People are uncertain about regulation. They're fearful of regulation. And because of that, the market, in some cases, outside of other things, has taken a dip off of, not a dip, a massive correction from the top. If you zoom out, though, that's one of the things that, depending upon where you got into the space, doesn't make that much of a difference. But I mean, if you zoom out on a 1-year time frame, a year ago, we were talking about a $24 billion market. The entire cryptocurrency market a year ago was $24 billion. We're still at over a 10x, like well over a 10x, like a 15x, basically, of where we were previously. So over the past 365 days. Yes, if you look back, and since early January, we're down 50+%, but that level it was just such a massive run. Obviously, it wasn't sustainable. So we'll have to see. Buy the beer, sell the whiskey. And one thing too, I mean, that I'll say as well, and just learning from a lot of the experience and the euphoria as well, is that up top, there were definitely points in time, and I even remember saying it in videos where I was like, you know what, I am making so much money, I'm getting like, at least on paper, wasn't really selling anything because I didn't want to call it top. But I was like, I am making so much money that this is not, I know in my heart, I was like, this is not sustainable. This is not, there's no way this is realistic. I shouldn't be pulling 10Xs over the course of 30 days. And I shouldn't you shouldn't put $1,000 in and print 10 grand back out. Like that's ridiculous magic. It takes you 30 years in the regular stock market to basically do something like that. And you're doing that in 30 days in crypto. And I think if I were to go back, or if we're to go into a similar cycle in the future where we see a large scale bull run again, I'm going to be more probably aggressive in terms of taking profits, because at some point in time there's probably going to be another correction, and then you can redeploy that capital. So I didn't really take much profit at all, and that's something that I've learned from pretty significantly, obviously, as well. Yeah, somebody said they remember me saying this market is so crazy, a blind monkey could be making money right now. Yes, a blind monkey could be making money right back then, and now a blind monkey is losing money. So sometimes you just don't want to be the blind monkey. Sometimes you do. Who knows? Thoughts on Elastos, please. I haven't done a ton of diligence into Elastos yet. A couple comments about Substratum. Yeah, Substratum pumped. Was really the only one in the top 100 that pumped pretty significantly today. Let's. Thoughts on the Binance bounty to catch hackers? I think doing a bounty program to encourage people to basically encourage white hat hackers, or to encourage white hat security experts to participate on the platform is smart. Binance is printing money. They're extremely, extremely profitable to my knowledge. Very, very profitable. So, any money that they pay to white hat hackers to prevent future, to basically change the. Life is all about incentives. Crypto is all about incentives. If the company that you are trying to hack is going to pay you more money now to secure their platform rather than to hack their platform, which one are you going to do? You're probably going to do the thing that pays you more money. So it's kind of a smart move on their end, honestly. But it's nothing new. It's nothing incredibly crazy. It's just a lot of money in comparison to some other programs out there as well. Thanks, Dad. I appreciate that, man. You said Binance or Bittrex. I personally use Binance for the most part now over. I personally use Binance for the most part over Bittrex. There are a couple of coins that are not on. In some cases, there are coins that are on Bittrex that might not be on Binance, but for the most part, everything that's on Bittrex is on Binance, or pretty much everything that's on Bittrex is on Binance. So I kind of like the user interface of Binance a little bit better than I like the user interface of Bittrex. So for the most part, I stick to Binance now. It's kind of my go-to. I have not invested into Encash. I haven't gotten a chance to dive into Nucleus Vision. I'm getting a ton of questions about it. So I'm assuming that there's some. I know there are a decent amount of people that are pretty bullish on Encash. I think you got a nice Ian Bellina effect as well. I think he definitely introduces companies to the masses and does a good job of that when it comes to ICOs. Whether you like him or you don't like him, he does I don't know if Nucleus Vision would be maybe as as hyped up if it wasn't for somebody like him. And there's other guys on YouTube as well that have done it, or on Twitter as well. But I need to dive into. I really haven't done as much because I didn't participate in the ICO. I don't even think I had an opportunity to participate in the ICO. And when it was initially trading on exchanges right after the ICO, it's been up a pretty significant amount since then. And I was waiting for more of a pullback at that point in time to even kind of evaluate it. And there definitely was a pullback at some point, but still, I haven't really touched it too much. The pullback to make that move on would have been in the last week when things went pretty south pretty quickly. I like that they're listed on Binance right away, though. Smart move on their part. Got to provide that liquidity pretty much right away. That's a smart move on their end. But I haven't done enough due diligence personally to make any type of legitimate kind of thought process there. And guys, if you have any specific must-have answered questions, throw it in a super chat. Otherwise, I'll try to get to as many of these as possible as well. Cash QASH. I haven't looked at the price recently. I read the white paper. I thought the white paper was pretty interesting. I thought the white paper of Cash was pretty interesting. That was a cool one to check out. They have a lot of plans. I think there's a couple people out there that are pretty bullish on them. I think he's on Twitter and I think he's on YouTube as well. Korean Jew. He's very big into Cash. I don't own any. I thought very ambitious plans, but for me personally, maybe there's some other. It's kind of similar in some respects to X-Trade. I don't know if any of you guys have seen that one. It's a current ICO at this point in time, but I think it's kind of similar in some respects to X-Trade. Somebody else said, "What do you think of Skycoin?" Skycoin's an interesting one. They're trying to accomplish a lot. I like to see some level, maybe a little bit more specific focus in some respects when it comes down to some projects. That was kind of my concern with Skycoin. It's kind of taken a big hit since early January, like a lot of projects have, but it hasn't kind of stopped the bleeding yet. Really only on C2CX and Cryptopia. I don't even have a Cryptopia account, so that's that. But Skycoin can be interesting if they can execute on what they're trying to do. They're in some respects they're a Substratum competitor, pretty closely aligned to kind of what Substratum is trying to do, where it's basically a decentralized internet. Substratum's trying to do a couple other things Skycoin's trying to do a couple other things besides that, but it's like a decentralized internet where you kind of run a mining node in your house or somewhere else, and then from there, you can provide access to the internet to a number of people. Somebody talked about an updated Delta app. I actually haven't updated the Delta app yet, so I haven't gotten a chance to do so yet. Cliff High, I don't think that's the real Cliff High, but what do you think about space chickens? Are they any different than the real chickens on Earth that I eat in buffalo chicken wraps every day? If not, I don't have much thoughts. Pony P, why isn't XRP in all caps blowing up with all of the utility? First of all, you have to look. I mean, this is just my personal opinion, but Ripple is a $31 billion market capitalization coin. What's up, BTC Kyle? What's going on, brother? Hope you are doing well. Ripple is a $31 billion market cap coin. It is already one of the highest value cryptocurrencies out there. I mean, it's the third largest cryptocurrency by far. So that's number one. Number two, when you look at, I'll do 3-day trend. I'll do 1 day. I mean, Ripple already did quote unquote blow up from December to January. Ripple was up 1,500% or so. I mean, that's literally blowing up over 30 days. Ripple is up 1,500%. It has blown up. It is still up 500% even after the pullback. So You have to take that into consideration. That's just kind of my own thoughts there. What's up, Joy King? Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And as well, BC Fitness, thank you so much for that too. So taking a look at some of these questions popping through here. Any thoughts on QSP QuantStamp? I think QuantStamp is really interesting. I personally don't own any QuantStamp right now, but I think QuantStamp is really an interesting project as a whole. I do think that like everybody's on the decentralized everything. Everybody's on the decentralized everything game. Everybody wants to decentralize every single thing in the world. A lot of the ways in which you do that is smart contracts, or that's kind of the level of decentralization out there, is smart contracts. However, as you can see with a lot of these projects out there, smart contracts, the issue with the smart contract is if it is not programmed correctly, there can be massive gaping security flaws, which can do everything from basically ruin the project to lock $100 million in a parity wallet, or in a multi-sig parity wallet. And the fact that QuantStamp is working to do security auditing for smart contracts, that's a pretty fascinating subject to me. I don't know enough personally about the actual auditing process of smart contracts, but it is something that I think has a lot of potential in the long run. So I'm interested to see them hopefully succeed. Partially Human, did Mt. Gox finish dumping? I believe Mt. Gox. Is the trustee of Mt. Gox is no longer required to sell additional Bitcoin for creditors at this point in time. So they still have a ton. I don't remember the exact number, but the Mt. Gox trustee still has a ton of Bitcoin, like a ton of Bitcoin. With that in mind, they are not under legal obligation, or they are not forced to sell that Bitcoin. So I've heard there is a possibility, 166,000 Bitcoin. Thank you guys. You're on top of your stuff. I am not. So 166,000 Bitcoin. They're not they do not need to sell. I've heard there are kind of, I guess, rumors that they might redisperse those Bitcoin directly back to the creditors of Mt. Gox. I think that's a possibility. There's a lot of different possibilities, but at this time, hopefully, they're not going to sell off those 166,000 Bitcoin. And if they do, I'd love to see them go OTC on that. That would be a beautiful thing, rather than going on to whether it was I think it was Kraken and a couple other exchanges, rather than dispersing that on the open market over a number of exchanges and just dumping off the books. If it was selling OTC, that would have been much preferred. Thoughts on MCO at Money 2020 and launch trailer? I have not gotten a chance to check that out. Money 2020, the conference itself looks pretty interesting, but I haven't gotten a chance to check that one out. Thoughts on Homo Coin? I'm assuming that's just trolling me. I'm assuming at this point that's just a troll. And what's up, BC Fitness? Thoughts on Medical Chain MTN? I haven't gotten a chance to look into Medical Chain too much. I haven't gotten a chance to dive into these guys, unfortunately, at this point in time. But I can definitely throw them on the list of companies to check out and do a little bit more research on at this point. I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember. There were actually one or two different healthcare-based companies or healthcare-based like blockchain projects that presented at the North American Bitcoin Conference in Miami. Let me see here. I look at the team, if that reminds me. Possible that they were there. This looks kind of familiar. I think they might have been at the Bitcoin Miami conference. I think there's a decent possibility. Trying to see here. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to do a little bit more diligence. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know why OBS just died on me for a second there. Apologies there. I haven't checked out Richard. I didn't even know Richard Hart had an ICO. I haven't checked that out at all. So I have no context on that. I know he had that big interview on, I believe it was like Ivan on Tech's channel. And I think he was also on Doug Polk's channel as well. I didn't get a chance to watch really either of those in full. So there's that. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch either of those. So Jeff Thompson said my interview with Tone Vays was interesting. He said token served no point. Your thoughts? I get the thought. I get the thought process, and I know there's a lot of people I think there's obviously a lot of people in the space that I think the majority of people, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but the majority of people that are probably watching this channel right now hold more altcoins or invest or enjoy investing in altcoins more than they enjoy investing in Bitcoin. I would venture to say that's the impression that I get is the majority of folks that are watching right now probably, and let me know in the comments, do you like investing more in altcoins or do you have a higher holding in Bitcoin? Would love to hear that, but I do think that Tone obviously has a very strong preference towards Bitcoin, and that's absolutely fine. And I do think that there's a lot of validity to that. I think there are a lot of scams out there. There are a lot of kind of maybe projects that are a lot of vaporware and not so much behind it. But I think the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. I don't think that every altcoin is the best thing in the world, and I also think that there probably is also life outside of Bitcoin as well. I am a very, very big proponent of Bitcoin, though, so don't get me wrong. I'm not a full-on Bitcoin maximalist either, but I do think that there is massive validity in hearing somebody like Tone's thoughts, because if you don't listen to other people, if you just want to sit in an echo chamber and hear nothing but what you want to hear, that's not going to serve you well in the long run. So I think that's something that you want to do on a consistent basis, or at least try to, is just hear differing opinions. I think that's really, really important in my mind. And Tone has different opinions than mine, and I wanted to hear what he had to say. And yeah, that's kind of my thought process there. Fake Supo Man. I don't think that's the real Supo Man, because I'm pretty sure his name is Supo Man Udemy. I know my YouTube names. Do I think you are the biggest shiller? I don't think you're the real Supo Man. Why was Bitcoin not ASIC resistant? Why was Bitcoin not ASIC resistant from the beginning? I mean, first of all, when you're talking about Bitcoin, if you're not familiar with Bitcoin, like how Bitcoin started and all that, super, super humble beginnings. Read the book Digital Gold. Go on Amazon. Go on Amazon and buy this book. One of the better reads that you'll have. It's an audio book. I personally didn't read it. I listened to it on audio. And this is one of my favorite books. If you have not read it, I would absolutely, absolutely recommend doing so. With that being said, when Bitcoin started, you could mine, you didn't even need a GPU. When Bitcoin started, you could mine Bitcoin on you could mine Bitcoin using your CPU. There was actually somebody that figured out that mining on a GPU, it took like I think it was over a year before somebody figured out that it was more efficient to mine Bitcoin on a, GPU rather than a CPU. So is that the real Supo Man? Do you think I am the biggest shiller? I don't know. Are you? You tell me, man. So popping into, let's see here. What do we got here? I am. I'm so confused if that's real Supo Man, if this is fake Supo Man. I think that's fake Supo Man. I think fake Supo Man is trying to get me to start beef between. I will not start beef. I don't care. Thanks for the $7 though. Oh man. So let's see. Credits. I looked into credits. I am not it's perhaps for me personally, it's maybe not my cup of tea. Thanks, Cliff High. Thank you for the $5. Not as much my cup of tea in comparison to some of the other projects out there. What I thought was fairly interesting too was if you want to, so I've done my own due diligence on credits, but I thought that Ivan on Tech created a really good video on credits, and he got some negative backlash for it. And I think it's unfortunate that anytime somebody goes out on a limb to provide content that they hopefully believe is truthful or goes against the grain, they get ripped on pretty good. And Ivan on Tech put together what I thought was a pretty good video in regards to credits and some flaws that he found in the credits alpha and just some other things like that. And with that being said, he got just a lot of people saying some not so nice things to him, and I think that's unfortunate. Now, even if you're a massive fan of credits, if that's your biggest bag, if you love credits, you should still listen to what somebody has to say. And if it's negative, then determine if it's true. And if it's not, if it's true, great. If it's not true, then increase your bags, build up your bags more, and you'll be fine. So that is, that's something I think you want to just take into consideration as you continue to go on and on. In some of these comments. No, I'm not going to sell the cryptocurrency I have so that it will pump as soon as I sell it. BTC Kyle, what's up, dude? When did I get into crypto? I bought the first crypto top. I bought the first crypto top in December 2013 was when I first got in, and I really got in because of Dogecoin. That was like when Dogecoin came out, and that is essentially how I got in. I opened up a Coinbase account when Coinbase was tiny, opened up a Coinbase account, and bought Dogecoin, started mining Dogecoin, really started mining Dogecoin before I started buying anything, just because I was fresh out of college and had no money whatsoever. So I really couldn't buy much of anything. And unfortunately, just tried to mine and floundered my way around. And then over time, I bought when crypto went from being worth $1 billion to $15 billion. And then it, after that, dropped about 80%, pretty much all the way back down to parity. And it was a rough indoctrination to cryptocurrency. It was a rough indoctrination, but that's also one of the reasons when people say like, hey, why are you like confident now? Why are you not freaking out about this? It's because like in the long term, I know I've survived multiple bear markets in the crypto, in the crypto sector, and I feel like I can kind of continue to do so if we face into a long-term bear market as well. It's just kind of my outlook. But yeah, I got in late December 2013, January 2014. I remember I went home from Christmas break, or I had Christmas break from work. I took like the week of Christmas off, and I literally spent the entire week at home mining Dogecoin on my laptop. The entire week just trying to set up Dogecoin mining on my laptop, trying to mine with like cloud mining. It was not like cloud mining, not like Genesis mining, like literally opening up like Amazon Web Services workstations to like opening up freaking Ubuntu servers to try to mine Dogecoin. Somebody said you can evaluate an apartment complex deal because it produces income. You can't really do that with crypto. No, you can't. No, crypto is completely different from basically any other market right now. Maybe in the future, will you be able to do that? Yeah, it's possible. Perhaps in the future, people will look at a number of different metrics. Maybe it might be something like an NVT ratio, or it might be fees collected on the platform. Maybe it's something like that. But right now, there really isn't anything out there that you can specifically look at and say, this is the exact reason why this cryptocurrency is valued higher than that cryptocurrency. You really can't do that at this point in time. And you can do that with pretty much everything else on the planet. You can do that with stocks. You can do that with bonds. You can do that with, real estate. You can do it with apartment complexes. You can do that with basically everything on the planet. Crypto is not one of them. Satoshi Nakamoto, spelled incorrectly, says y'all have no idea what you're talking about. Fake Doug Polk fake. There's a fake Supo Man and a fake Doug Polk in my comments, tweeting at each other. So I. Will fusion and financial sector blockchains gain ground as governments analyze use cases? Does the future in USA look for crypto with the SEC? Do you believe institutions may get the go-ahead here? I think I'm not able to speculate really on regulation. I do think that regulation in the U.S. is definitely a fluid topic for sure. SEC has obviously made numerous statements. I would advise to just kind of continue to keep an eye on things. A lot of it is pretty damn public, so I just advise to try and study up as much as possible on anything that the SEC ends up coming out with. But I do think that there have been positive signs. I think Circle buying Poloniex was an interesting and positive sign. The Series C investor in Circle was Goldman Sachs. If you go on Crunchbase, you can see the investors. So Circle is a company that seems to be, at least to my mind, very, very in tune with regulators, and for the fact that they basically, it seems like perhaps got a sign off to acquire Poloniex, that's pretty interesting to me. I was surprised that happened. So I think that might bode well in some cases. In other cases, I think the SEC might not be happy about certain things that are going on. So we'll have to see what ends up rolling there. Let's Vest, it's a $6 million market cap with oh yeah, it's $1,000 of volume. Man, this stuff's flying off the shelves. I don't know too much about this, to be honest with you. Forbes, BuzzFeed, HuffPost. There are a lot of crypto projects that are going after the music industry. I've met a couple of them. Pretty interesting stuff. But this right now, I mean, maybe it gets added to an exchange, but buying something with $1,000 of daily volume is petrifying to me. So there's just no liquidity there. If you had a position there, it would take you a year to offload a position. So that's a little scary to me there. Peter said, "Are you censoring yourself from talking about AirSwap now?" Be pretty frank, I don't want to present any conflicts of interest. I don't want to put I don't want to put AirSwap in any bad positions because of this channel. They're very supportive of. They're very, very supportive of me continuing to do this channel, continuing to make content to whatever degree I'd like to make. But I also recognize that I don't want to be considered as a shill or anything like that. So I am going to, I'm going to just try to continue to put things forward in as objective of a way as possible, and not not do any type of anything that would kind of put my day job in jeopardy as well. So if you do ask, just to be clear too, if there are any questions that I feel uncomfortable answering, I will just probably decline to do that. Again, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get my current company in trouble, and I also want to be working with AirSwap for a long time. And I don't want to hurt that. So if there is anything that I can't answer, I will, quite frankly, I'll apologize for that. So yeah, hopefully you guys are cool with that. But again, too, like AirSwap, Oved, all the guys there, all the ladies there are very, very cool about this channel and the fact that I'm going to keep it going. So I'm very I'm excited about that opportunity, and I don't want to take that for granted. Thoughts on the latest Delta app update? I have not been able to update the Delta app on my phone yet, but I'd like to, and I believe they have a desktop app as well. So I'm excited about that. Delta they've been innovating nicely, so I'm pretty happy about that. Help Donovan. Hey, mate, congrats. Can you check Encash, please? I actually might be a little bit late. So I spoke about Encash earlier. Talked a little bit. I think I got a super chat earlier in regards to Nucleus Vision. So I appreciate the chat there. It's an interesting project. It took a nice little dip about a week ago and has recovered pretty nicely. So it's on Binance. So there's obviously, you'd like to see it maybe on a few other additional exchanges, but I mean, if you're on one exchange out there right now, Binance is the place to be. So Encash, I think a lot of people are pretty bullish on. I don't personally have any. I didn't participate in the ICO, and I need to do more diligence on it. I didn't get the opportunity to participate in the ICO, so I never really did the full level of research that I perhaps should have been. Thanks for clarifying Path of Bitcoin. Can I buy a shirt though? I don't know what the deal is with swag. If I find it out, Path of Bitcoin, I will definitely let you know. I will definitely let you know. When's Dogecoin gonna moon? Dogecoin is always mooning, man. That's one Dogecoin will always equal one Dogecoin. That's what you have to keep in mind. You have to be smart about that. But one Dogecoin will always equal one Dogecoin. And when that happens, you can't lose. You can't lose. Thank you for that, Curbside. I appreciate it. Do I pay for Delta Pro? Not yet. I do not, but I probably will at some point in time. I actually don't even know the difference between the just regular Delta and Delta Pro, but I do not pay for Delta Pro yet, but I'm definitely not against it. I've heard some positive things about Storm. I know a couple different friends who are who've been very bullish on Storm for the past month or so. Doge Theory, man. Doge Theorem is the big one, man. Doge Theorem is the winner in all this. One BitConnect is always going to equal one BitConnect. That was so somebody mentioned, and I didn't even get a chance to dive into this before, but Packcoin was a funny one. This actually wasn't even due to Packcoin's. I don't even think this was Packcoin's fault, but so I believe, to my knowledge, Packcoin did like an 1,000-to-1 basically split where they had a massive supply, and then they reduced their supply. Literally, if you had 1,000, I think it was like if you had 1,000 Packcoin, it turned into one. So they just completely flipped up the supply, and because the supply was so massive, and then they switched it back, they did that split, or they did that reduction of 1,000 to 1, the price of Packcoin stayed the same, and they reduced it all the way, or the price stayed the same. This whole crazy thing happened, and then Packcoin was the number 3 coin on CoinMarketCap for like an hour over the weekend, and everybody was freaking out, and it was hilarious. But it kind of goes to show, in some respects, how scary some of the data is that comes out of the cryptocurrency game right now. Because, there are people out there that build like APIs, and there are people that make decisions based upon. You can even see, the coin pumped. The coin pumped on the news a little bit. I think it happened. Where was it? I think it was Sunday at some point in time. It went up fairly nicely, but it was. It's funny to see, but it goes to show, like, you really need the data in this space needs to be improved upon, because imagine if there's a company out there that, and they're trying to build that. Imagine if there's a company out there that is trying to take, basically, if there's a company out there and they are trying to do a top 10 cryptocurrency like ETF. So you give them 10 grand and they're going to buy the top 10 cryptocurrencies in a diversified manner for you. And all of a sudden, they have maybe an API. It's built into CoinMarketCap and a couple other places. All of a sudden, that API goes off and it buys Packcoin, because Packcoin was the number 3. Packcoin was above Ripple. JR Garage is rich right now. Good for them, man. Good for them. That kid has like a 75 jillion Packcoins. But when that reverse split happened, like, imagine if your ETF goes out and buys you a bunch of Packcoin because CoinMarketCap thought that Packcoin was more valuable than Ripple and Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin and all that stuff. That wouldn't be the most fun scenario for you. And that's something that can definitely happen. TKY, The Key, and Zill, have you done them yet? I have a bunch of buddies that are I haven't done too much into TKY. I have a couple friends, Donnie Crypto, who I respect quite a bit for his knowledge in the space. Donnie is very bullish on Zilliqa. I do not have any Zilliqa, but Donnie is very bullish on them, and he's somebody whose opinion I respect. So maybe you do, maybe you don't, but he's somebody that I like quite a bit, and he's very much big in the space. And yeah, he's bullish on Zilliqa, so it's something that I kind of need to look into a little bit more. I think I was started reading into the white paper and didn't get all the way through it, so I need to continue to do that. Thank you, real Donald Trump. I appreciate the large hand gesture. Do you see or follow any projects in the real estate industry? I have not yet. I haven't been incredibly passionate per se about some of the projects in the real estate industry. They haven't done as well from an investment standpoint, at least from what I've seen, as many of the other industries. Like if you talk about if I have the chance to invest in a platform or in a privacy coin or even in a D app over a real estate type of token, I think this. Oh my god. I think that it's I would rather go in a lot of other directions than I would on real estate. Fake Ian Bellina, what's up, man? Hope all is well. Let's talk about some token metrics, baby. Riding in the moon to his. I don't remember what the song is, but the Moon Lambo song. What's up, Ian? Fake Ian, I should say. The person who's tipping me, fake people. Thank you very much, Fire Medic. I appreciate that. Appreciate the 2 beers. It is thank you very much for that. Lightning Network, Reggie, that's a good question. I think Lightning Network is going to be really interesting. I don't think it's going to solve everything, but in terms of providing transactions between two parties that commonly transact, I do think that Lightning Network will hopefully clear up a lot of the congestion on the Bitcoin network in the future. I also think if you look at SegWit adoption, let's see if I can pull up a chart. Try and do it over here. Get it? Chart is not working the way it's supposed to be. Give me 1 second. Yep. I do think the combination, personally, I do think that the combination of SegWit, now that Coinbase is pretty much fully ramped on SegWit, as well as Bitfinex and some of the other big players out there, I do think that both SegWit and Lightning has obviously brought the fees of Bitcoin down substantially. I mean, there was a point in time where your average transaction fee on Bitcoin was like $50. Now it's less than $5, which is, still, you don't necessarily maybe want to buy a cup of coffee. You don't want to buy a $5 cup of coffee and spend $1.50 in fees or $1 in fees, but still, that's a massive improvement in the right direction. I think SegWit and Lightning are both massive parts of that, and I do think Lightning in the long term, it is very, very, very early on right now. Elizabeth Stark, one of the main individuals behind Lightning, has mentioned multiple times that it's really not ready, but there are people that are so hungry to be developing on that platform that they're trying to innovate as much as possible on that. So I'm excited to see where things end up going with Lightning. Uh, Hi, Hillary. Can I shill you some coins? No, I can't shill you any coins. Hollow gang, hollow gang, hollow gang. Somebody said, Sun King said, I sent from my Bitcoin ledger on Fast and it costs 17 cents. Yeah. Transaction fees are going way, way, way down on Bitcoin, especially if you use SegWit on. I use the SegWit Bitcoin wallet, and that is, yeah, transaction fees are freaking low. It's great. It's fantastic. So, I mean, they're in a lot of cases they're down. I mean, you could buy a cup of coffee with 17 cents on a fast transaction on a ledger if you really wanted to. Not that the whole cup of coffee argument is the biggest thing in the world, but you pretty damn easily do that, which is a terrific thing, at least in my mind. Guys, at this point in time, I'm gonna sign off. Gotta get prepped for the day tomorrow. Try and get a little bit of reading in at this point in time as well. But I really do appreciate all the questions, the comments, all the encouragement and everything like that. Really excited to continue to bring you guys as much content as possible. So thank you very much for that. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. I would really appreciate that. We'll get this video out to as many people as possible. So if you could hit that like button, I would very much appreciate that. Until next time, everybody, I will see you tomorrow. Crypto Bobby signing out. Have a good one. Peace. Take it easy.